Okay, for this video, I'm going to give a quick walkthrough of the code as well on usually pretty much what each file is supposed to do and how this whole thing is put together. So we can see that it's a pretty simple, JavaScript-based chess engine. We have the front-end UI using mostly um, HTML, just HTML, CSS, and we have when it comes to defining all the global variables, we have this dev.js JS file, and it defines all the pieces, the squares, the starting fen. Um, fen is a basic a type of format that allows you to capture a chessboard position in a pretty easy and straightforward way. And how we have also the square converter to convert each square into like an index value, so we can we can easily capture them. And the pieces also we are defining them, in using different numbers such as white pawn, white knight, white bishop, and so on. So it defines the global constants and the lookup tables mostly in this file. And we also have the board.js, and board.js very straightforwardly initializes the board objects and allows you to kind of define the first initialized properties of the game, such as uh, such as the fact that you can capture the history and you can see if whether your player or the other player currently can castle your king, and you can see whether you can potentially if there's an en passant, if en passant is still available at this moment. Um, yeah, and and when it comes to function, you can check it checks the board and making sure that all of these properties are being fulfilled. And it can also print the board. This is mostly used for on the UI side. And MoveGen, um, it kind of it has a few functions such as the init MVVLVA. MVVLVA is a pretty is a simple heuristic to kind of generate a sequence of moves, and it's pretty well known in um, the chess programming space. Called it stands for most valuable victim and least valuable aggressor, and it it operates on what's so-called the find victim cycle. So we have this logic built into this MoveGen class, and we have a couple other helper functions such as move exists, um, which to see if this a potential move can be played in the current positions, and it will then generate a list of moves for generate a list of legal moves for it to play. And let's see, we have the make move JS as well. The make move JS um, executes a legal move and it updates the clock, en passant, castling history. It will return false if the move leaves its own king in check and so forth. And all this sort of move information gets then pushed into the game board history before mutation. So the game board history can be seen at the top over here. And our evaluation function is so far is pretty static. So we have, you know, a sort of a static scores assigned to each um, cell, each position, and for different pieces. So, for example, the general idea is you want to, keep your position. You want to be able to take the center for with your pieces, and each piece, so you can see from here is that if your piece is at the corner on the outside, the score tend to be pretty low. But if you are at the center, then the score tends to be much higher. So that's kind of the idea that we're going with. We're using a sort of stat number, and we're kind of able to achieve a pretty solid score so far with this. And we have the search. Search it sorts the moving order inside the play, and it captures the um, and we also have implemented the uh, functions such as quiescent search as well as alpha beta. Um, and the clear for search kind of resets the stats and polling for stop flag, so forth. So yeah, and other than that, the main function itself, it's it kind of a uh, other than all the sort of the helper functions involved, it kind of initializes the game. It initializes the files and rank array, the hash key, and the MVVLBA tables, as well as the board grid and object. And then it parses the fen initial fen file in on new game object, so it will set up the board correctly. And initialized fen object you can see um, over here roughly. So yeah, the whole so the whole kind of a workflow is that you have, you can start up the setup, you can start up the game by calling the main.js function, which will call the init function, and it will populates the lookup tables, MVV, LVA, and so forth as well as like building and printing out the uh, chessboard grid object. And when you make a move, the GUI will kind of capture your clicks and confirms the legality of the move, and it'll call the make move object. And the engine will then so it sort of iteratively search the position and also um, search it more deeply using alpha beta and as well as quiescent. And in the it will look for then it will look for the best scores for the best position, so forth, and push it to the game board object, and the GUI will render that. And the process will continue until the game we have the game over, or the user have a take back.